The girl who discovered a hidden kingdom behind her school hostel. Ada never imagined that the most dangerous thing in her life would not be her WAEC exams or the wicked hostel matron, but a glowing butterfly that refused to mind its business. She was a slim, dark-skinned girl with curious eyes and a sharp tongue. SS2 science student in Queens of Grace Secondary School, a big boarding school somewhere at the edge of Benin City. The school was surrounded by thick bush and old trees that everybody said were just normal trees. But the old gatesman, Baba Idu, always muttered, "No tree is just a tree, my pikin. Some trees get story pass human being." Ada used to laugh when he said that. If only she knew. Life in school was already dramatic. Her best friend, Amaka, loved gossip more than food. Her crush, Toby, was the quiet fine boy from SS3 Arts who always smelled like soap and books. And the hostel matron, Mama Risi, behaved as if she was sent from the village to make children cry. No late night gist, no sneaking food, no noise after lights out, no talking to boys, no joy. That evening, everything started like normal. The bell rang for night prep. Girls rushed here and there with books, slippers slapping the floor. The sky was that deep blue that comes just before full darkness. Generators were humming somewhere at the back. Crickets were shouting in the bush like they were doing choir practice. Ada was tired. Chemistry was disturbing her future and her brain. She left the dining hall early after pushing her stew around the plates and pretending to eat. Her mind was not on food. It was on the strange dreams she had been having for 3 nights. In the dream, a voice that sounded like rushing water called her name. Daisy. She would find herself standing in a forest of tall trees with shining leaves. Masks floated in the air, drums played by themselves, and a woman with golden eyes and a crown of cowries stood far away beckoning to her. Each time Ada tried to move closer, a bright light would swallow everything and she would wake up sweating. 3 nights in a row. Same dream, same voice, same golden-eyed woman. She didn't tell anyone. She didn't want Amaka to turn it into hostel gist or worse, for the school to think she was possessed. That evening, after prep, Ada pretended she was going to fetch water. Instead, she went behind the hostel to the area students were warned not to go after dark. Snakes are there, evil spirits are there, kidnappers might be there, the seniors always said. Ada did not believe half of those things, but her legs still shook a little as she walked. The moon was not out yet. The back of the hostel was quiet, apart from the low hum of insects and the occasional croak of frogs. The security light at the back flickered, and that was when she saw it. A butterfly, but not an ordinary one. Its wings were blue, but not normal blue. They were glowing, like someone put light inside them. It floated in front of her face, and for 1 second, she thought she was imagining things. "Have started, oh," she whispered to herself. Then the butterfly moved, slowly, gently, as if it wanted her to follow. It flew towards the line of trees at the end of the school fence and paused. Ada's heart beat faster. She looked back at the hostel. Voices floated from inside. Laughter from one room, quarrel from another. Someone singing off-key gospel. The world was normal behind her. But in front of her, something strange was calling her name without words. The butterfly waited. It flapped its bright wings and drew a faint trail of light in the dark. "Okay, I am mad," Ada muttered, but her feet moved anyway. She followed it, past the last clothesline, past the broken concrete block students used as a bench, past the big mango tree that everybody claimed was haunted because a girl once fainted under it during assembly. The butterfly led her to a narrow space between two giant trees at the corner of the fence. She had never noticed that gap before. The trees bent towards each other like two old women gossiping. Between them, the air shimmered like heat on a tarred road. The butterfly flew straight into the shimmery air and disappeared. Ada froze. She felt something, a soft push on her chest, like a hand made of breeze. Her ears rang for a second. A whisper danced across her mind, a voice without weight. Adaeze! She should have run. She should have screamed. But the same way curiosity always made her enter trouble in hostel, it made her stretch her hand out and touch the shimmery hair. Her fingers went through. The world tilted. Her breath caught. Her heart jumped. And then, before she could scream, the ground disappeared beneath her feet and she was falling. Not down, but sideways, like she had been pulled into a turning page. There was no time to think, no time to pray, no time to remember that she had not told anybody where she was going. The air rushed past her, smelling of palm wine and rain. She heard drums. She heard ulations. She heard laughter and crying at the same time. Then, as suddenly as it started, it stopped. She was standing on solid ground. The first thing she noticed was the sky. It was not fully night, not fully day. The sky was purple, with golden lines moving slowly like they were alive. Stars blinked in strange shapes. The air was cool and carried the smell of roasted plantain and something floral and sweet. She was standing in a wild clearing. All around her, tall trees swayed. But they were not normal trees. Their leaves glittered like they were sprinkled with fine sand of light. Faces formed in the bark, eyes opening and closing slowly, like old people waking up from long sleep. One of the trees yawned. Ha! Children of nowadays, you people don't even knock before entering. Ada screamed and jumped back. The tree laughed, its leaves shaking. See her big eyes, it said in a deep male voice. You are in the wrong forest to be shouting like that, small one. Calm down. Where am I? Ada stammered. Behind where you think you are, another tree answered, this one with a soft female voice. Ada turned in every direction. Lanterns filled with fireflies floated around like small moons. In the distance, she could see rooftops with curved edges and glistering carvings. Marks, actual masquerade marks with cowries and feathers, were flying in the air, laughing and chasing each other like children. Drums floated too, beating themselves, matching some music that seemed to come from the ground. Warrior spirits with glowing eyes and long spears patrolled between the trees, their bodies covered in light that shifted like smoke. Ada's mouth fell open. Slowly, the truth started to form in her mind. This was not Earth, or rather, it was not the same part of Earth she knew. Welcome, Adaeze of Queens of Grace, a calm voice said from behind her. Ada turned sharply. A woman stood there. She was tall, with deep brown skin that seemed to catch light from inside. Her eyes were golden, the same eyes Ada had seen in her dreams. Her hair was wrapped in an intricate head tie made of shining fabric that changed color with every blink. Around her neck were beads that glowed faintly. Her wrapper was patterned with symbols Ada did not recognize but somehow understood. Power, wisdom, war, peace. The woman smiled and the clearing seemed to breathe with her. You, Ada whispered, you are the one in my dream. The woman nodded. I am Queen Oriaku of Ihuoma Kingdom, the kingdom behind the walls of your hostel. And we have been waiting for you. The words rolled over Ada like a wave. Waiting for me? Me? For what? I'm not anybody. I even failed physics last term. The queen laughed softly. Greatness is not about your school results, child. It is about what your spirit carries. And yours carries light that belongs to this land. Ada shook her head, trying to wake herself up. No, this is not possible. Maybe I fainted. Maybe I am in sick bay. Maybe Amaka put something in my food. The trees rustled in amusement. One of the floating masks swooped down and hovered in front of her face. She thinks we are dream, it sang in a playful voice. Touch my nose, small earth girl. Without thinking, Ada did. The mask was solid, smooth and cool under her fingers. Her hand shook. I don't understand, she whispered. You will, Queen Oriaku said. But first, you must eat. No journey should start on an empty stomach. From nowhere, a long table appeared, carved from a single massive tree trunk. Bowls of steaming jollof rice, roasted yam with palm oil, fresh fruits, and golden puff-puff covered it. The smell made Ada's stomach growl loudly, reminding her that she had not eaten well that evening. Even in confusion, the food was too tempting to ignore. She sat, still looking around like someone who expected everything to vanish. As she ate, the queen watched her with calm eyes. Adaeze, she said, we are a hidden kingdom, older than the fence around your school, older than the tarred road outside, older than the city itself. Long ago, your people and my people walked in and out of this world freely, but greed, jealousy, and a great betrayal broke the bridge between us. Since then, only few can find the path. The path chose you. Why? Why me? Ada asked again, wiping stew from her lips. Because you are the child of two worlds. The queen replied quietly. Ada paused, spoon in mid-air. Two worlds? My mommy sells provisions. My daddy is an engineer. Which two worlds? The queen's lips curved in a knowing smile. Did your parents tell you how they met? That question hit her like a small slap. Now that she thought about it, her parents never talked about their past. They always dodged stories of how they met, where they came from, even what village they hailed from. Whenever she asked, her mother would say, face your books, Ada, and her father would change the topic. They hide because there are things they fear, Queen Oriaku said. Things connected to this place, to Ihuoma, to me, and to you. The food in Ada's mouth suddenly tasted like sand. What kind of things? She asked slowly. The queen's eyes turned serious. There is a darkness rising here. A spirit that was once a great guardian but became corrupted by human wickedness. His name is Oburo. He wants to break through the paths and enter your world with his army. He wants to turn your school, your city, your whole country into a playground of fear and control. Long ago, someone from your bloodline helped trap him here. Now, only someone from that same bloodline can stop him from finishing what he started. Every hair on Ada's body stood up. She swallowed hard. So you want me to fight a wicked spirit that even powerful warriors like these ones, she nodded at the glowing soldiers, couldn't stop? The queen tilted her head. Not fight, my child. Lead. Lead? I can't even lead class discussion. The last time they made me class captain, everybody ignored me, Ada said, her voice shaking. The queen's eyes softened. Leadership is not about shouting or forcing people. It is about carrying a heart strong enough to love even when afraid, and wise enough to see beyond what others see. When you rescued that small boy that seniors were bullying in GSS 2 last term, even though they warned you. That was leadership. Ada blinked. You saw that? We see more than you think, the queen replied. When you shared your food with the girl who was always mocked because of her torn uniform, we saw it too. Your heart bends towards justice. That is why the path opened for you. Ada looked down at her hands, feeling small and big at the same time. What if I fail? She whispered. Then the balance between our world and yours will break, Queen Oriaku said simply, and both worlds will suffer. But I did not call you here to scare you. I called you because you were born for this. The word born echoed in Ada's mind. Again, the queen had spoken as if she knew secrets about her family that even she didn't know. Her chest tightened. She wanted to ask more, but something else caught her attention. A figure was standing at the edge of the clearing, half in shadow. A boy, tall, with smooth dark skin that caught the purple light of the sky. His hair was braided in a traditional style, and he wore a short wrapper tied at his waist, with patterns similar to the queen's. A short sword hung at his side, but his eyes were gentle, watching her with intense curiosity. For some reason, Ada's heart stumbled when their eyes met. The queen followed her gaze and smiled. Ah, I see you have noticed my son. The boy stepped forward and bowed slightly. I greet you, Adaeze of Queens of Grace, he said in a warm voice. I am Prince Nnamdi, heir to Ihuoma. Ada's mouth suddenly felt dry. Hi, she managed. Inside, another voice was shouting, He is fine, oh, very fine. Her brain, which could not remember chemistry formulas, decided to remember every detail of his face. The shape of his jaw, the way his eyes seemed to hold both sadness and strength, the small scar under his chin that made him look even more interesting. Inamdi will be your guide, Queen Oriaku said. He knows this kingdom, its dangers, its secrets, but it also has its own wounds. You must trust each other if you want to survive what is coming. Inamdi's eyes flickered at the word wounds. Adad wondered what that meant. Come, he said, extending his hand. There is much to show you. Your training must begin before Oburo senses you are here. Training, dark spirits, hidden secrets about her family. A prince who looked like he walked out from a Nollywood fantasy movie. Her normal life seemed very far away. Still, she took his hand. The touch sent a strange warmth up her arm, like a soft current. For a second, their eyes held, and something unspoken passed between them. A question, a promise, a warning. Don't fall in love. A mischievous floating mark sang from somewhere above. Love complicates war. Inamdi shot it a sharp look. Go and play somewhere else, he said. The marks laughed and spun away. Ada blushed. Don't mind them, Inamdi said with a half smile. These marks know how to talk. No problem, Ada replied quickly, looking away. But deep inside her, something had already shifted. As they walked through the kingdom, Ada realized that Ihuoma was not just beautiful, it was also broken. Some trees stood dark and twisted, as if a sickness was eating them from inside. Small spirits that looked like children made of smoke watched from shadows, eyes dim. A wide river flowed through the land, glowing faintly, but part of it was blackened, as if someone poured darkness into the water. Hoburo's corruption, Inamdi said quietly, following her gaze. Long ago, this land was all light. Now, darkness fights light in every corner. If he breaks the barrier between here and your world, the darkness will spread to your school, your family, everywhere. The thought of her mother father, Amaka, even wicked Mama Risi, being touched by that kind of darkness made Ada's stomach twist. Why can't you just stop him? She asked. You have warriors, magic, a queen. Inamdi's jaw clenched. We tried, many times, but there is a bond tying him to your world. A bond that was made by someone who came from your side. Our power alone cannot break it. We need someone from that same bloodline. The last person who tried died. His voice turned rough at the last word. Hadar looked at him sharply. His eyes had gone far away. Who? She asked gently. His shoulders stiffened. For a moment, he did not answer. Then he said, My father, the former king, he died fighting Oburo, trying to seal him inside the deep forest. My mother became queen, and Oburo was weakened but not destroyed. He has been gathering strength, waiting for someone to open a door from your world. Ada felt a pang in her chest. I'm so sorry, she murmured. He nodded once, but she could tell the wound was still fresh, no matter how calm he looked. Your training will start here, he said, stopping at a circle drawn on the ground with shining chalk. There were symbols all around it. At the center was a stone that pulsed with soft light. What kind of training? She asked. The kind that wakes up what is already in you, he said. Magic that belongs to your blood. The parts that came from here and the parts that came from there. He pointed upwards, but Ada knew he meant her world. As she stepped into the circle, the ground seemed to hum. Light rose around her ankles, her knees, her waist. Her heart pounded. For a moment she wanted to run, but then she remembered something. The small boy in GSS 2 who had cried into her shoulder. The girl who smiled when she shared food. The way injustice made anger rise in her chest. She thought of her parents' secretive looks, the shadow in her father's eyes sometimes when he stared at nothing. She wanted answers. She wanted to protect the ones she loved. She stood straight. The training began. Days passed, or what felt like days, because time in Ihuoma flowed strangely. Sometimes the sky stayed purple for long. Sometimes it changed colors twice in one conversation. Inamdi taught Ada how to listen to the trees, how to hear the truth in people's voices, how to call light from the beads the queen gave her and shape it into shields and lines of power. She learned to stand in the river and pull strength from its clear parts while resisting the dark sections. At night, she lay under a tree that hummed lullabies and wondered how her bunkmates were doing. If Amaka had noticed her empty bed, if the school authorities were worried. The path bends time, the queen had said. You will return to your world when your work here reaches a certain point. For them, it may feel like minutes. For you, it may feel like weeks. Do not fear. Even if time was different, danger was real. Strange shadows flickered at the edge of the training field sometimes, watching her. Once, as she tried to summon the light, a whisper hissed in her ear. You are too weak. They will all die because of you. The light in her hand flickered, then went out. Don't listen, Inamdi said firmly, stepping closer, his hand steady on her shoulder. Oburo feeds on fear. That is his first weapon. One evening, after a particularly hard session where she failed again and again to create a barrier strong enough to resist the dark wave he sent towards her, Ada broke down. Tears spilled from her eyes. I can't do it, she sobbed. You chose the wrong girl. I am not strong. I miss my mom. I miss my room, even the smell of the hostel toilet. I just want to go home. Inamdi watched her quietly, then knelt beside her. You think I don't wish my life was different? He asked softly. That I don't wish I could walk into your world, sit in a classroom, complain about homework instead of holding a sword since I was small? His voice shook a bit, but just enough for her to hear the pain he normally hid. But we don't choose the worlds we are born into, our Daisy. We only choose how we fight them. She sniffed. What if I lose? Then you lose trying, he said. And that is different from losing by running. His hand was still on her shoulder, warm, solid. She looked at him, and for a long moment their eyes stayed locked. The world faded. The river, the trees, even the drums in the distance became background. She saw the fear he hid, the strength he carried, the loneliness of a prince whose people depended on him. He saw her confusion, her courage, the way she was fighting her own doubts. Something shifted between them, soft but strong. Her heart beat in a new rhythm. Inamdi, she whispered. Yes, you are talking too much like a motivational speaker, she said with a watery smile. He laughed, the sound lightening the air. Ha, so you still have mouth, he teased. Good, cry finish, then we try again. This time, don't fight alone. Imagine your parents, your friend, your whole hostel standing behind you. She nodded, wiping her eyes. When she tried again, she didn't think of her fear. She thought of her mother's rough hands cooking, her father's exhausted face after work, Amaka's loud laughter. She thought of the small boy she had defended, the girl she had fed, Inamdi's wounded eyes. The light came, stronger this time, forming a shining wall between her and the approaching darkness. The dark wave struck, but the wall held. For the first time, she pushed back. The darkness hissed, recoiling like a burned animal. From somewhere far away, a low growl answered. Hoburo had noticed her. That night she couldn't sleep. She sat by the glowing river, hugging her knees. Inamdi joined her quietly. They talked about small things at first: school food, strange proverbs from his people, silly jokes from hers. Then the talk shifted. Sometimes, Inamdi said softly, I wonder, if there was no war, no Oburo, no duty, who would I be? Ada looked at him. You? Maybe a footballer or a musician. Girls will still be falling for you. He smiled, but his eyes remained serious. And you? He asked. Who would you be if no one expected you to be strong? The question entered spaces inside her she didn't know existed. Maybe I would just be a girl who draws, she said slowly. I like sketching, but my mom says it won't pay bills, so I hide my drawings. I would like to see them, he said. One day, she replied, looking away to hide the heat in her cheeks. When their shoulders brushed, neither of them moved away. The closeness felt dangerous in a different way, but also right. In that quiet moment, a small seed took root, but Ihuoma was not a place that allowed long softness. The very next day, the queen called them to the throne grove, a circle of ancient trees that arched overhead, forming a living palace. Her face was grave. Hoburo has moved, she said. He has found a weak point in the barrier. He is trying to reach into Adaize's world. Where? Ada asked, heart pounding. Your hostel, the queen replied. The back of the building where the path stands. If he succeeds, your school will become his first playground. Images flashed in Ada's mind. Girls laughing in the hostel, sleeping peacefully, quarreling over buckets, gossiping in corners. No, she whispered. We have to stop him. We will, the queen said. But there is something you must know first. Her golden eyes locked on Ada's. It is time you learn who you really are. The clearing grew silent. Even the trees seemed to hold their breath. Your mother was born here, the queen said quietly. She is my younger sister, the world tilted. Ada stared, mouth open. That's that's not possible. My mom is from. She stopped. From where? She had never actually been told. Her mother always avoided that topic. Your mother's real name is Nkem, Queen Oriaku continued. She grew up in this kingdom. She was stubborn, full of fire, always sneaking out beyond the borders. One day, she met a young man from your world who had accidentally fallen through a weak part of the barrier near the old shrine that stood where your school hostel is now. That young man was your father. Ada's heart hammered. My dad came from here? No, he came from your side, but he had old blood tied to this place. The queen said, your great grandfather was the one who helped us trap Oburu long ago. The bond passed down. When your parents met, our worlds met again. They fell in love. The word love hung heavy between them, wrapped in both beauty and danger. They were warned, the queen said. Love between words always comes with a price, but they did not listen. Inkem, her voice softened on the name, chose to leave Ihuoma to be with him. They thought they could hide and live quietly, but Oburo felt the mixing of the bloodlines that could destroy him. He wanted you even before you were born. Ada's legs felt weak. Me? Yes, you, the queen said. When you were a baby, sickness came to your house. Not normal sickness. A curse. You almost died. Your parents begged me for help. I opened the path one last time and hid a part of your spirit here to protect you. That is why you always felt different. That is why the path recognized you now. Tears gathered in Ada's eyes. So many things suddenly made sense. Her parents' secrecy, the strange dreams she had had since she was small, the way old people sometimes stared at her like they saw something she couldn't see. Why did they not tell me? She whispered. Because they were afraid, the queen replied. Afraid that if you knew, you would search for this place. And if you found it too early, Hoburo would find you too. They swore never to speak of Ihuoma. So my whole life is built on a secret, Ada said, voice breaking. They lied to me. They protected you, the queen said gently. Sometimes protection looks like hiding truth. It is not always right, but it comes from love. Ada's heart twisted. Anger and understanding fought inside her. In the middle of it all stood a cold realization. She was half from here, half from there. A bridge, a target. If my mom is your sister, she said slowly, then you are my aunt. The queen smiled sadly. Yes, my child, you are princess of two worlds, whether you like it or not. Inamdi shifted beside her. Ada glanced at him, suddenly seeing him in a new light. He was her cousin, except no, he wasn't. Her mother was the queen's sister. Inamdi was the queen's son. That made them related in a way that complicated the soft thing growing between them. Her heart dropped into her stomach, as if reading her thoughts. The queen's eyes darkened. Love is the most dangerous magic, she said quietly. It can't heal worlds and it can destroy them. Be careful what you let grow, child. Heat burned under Ada's skin. She looked at the ground, shame and confusion swirling. Nnamdi cleared his throat, his face blank. The space between them, which had been warm the night before, felt sharp now. What do we do about Oburu? He asked in a tight voice. We go to the deep forest, the queen replied, where he was bound. We strengthen his prison from here, while Ada weakens his grip on the passage from her world. She must return now, before his corruption spreads deeper into her school. Imnandi, you will go with her. Ada's head snapped up. He can cross? She asked. With the right binding, yes, the queen said. But there is a risk. The more he steps into your world, the more Oburu will sense him. Still, you will need someone who knows our magic by your side. You cannot face this alone. Inamdi nodded once, eyes hard. I am ready. Ada's heart twisted in a new way. The thought of Inamdi in her world, wearing jeans instead of wrappers, walking under the hostel shed, leaning against classroom walls, felt strange and thrilling. But the danger was real. What if something happens to you? She blurted, surprising herself. He looked at her, something soft in his eyes again, despite the tension. And what if something happens to you? He countered. We cannot keep each other in glass. He was right. Still, fear gnawed at her. Hadeze, the queen said, stepping closer. She placed a glowing bead bracelet on Ada's wrist. This will help you channel your power from Ihuoma while you are in your world. But he warned, the more you use it, the more Oburo will notice you. Use it wisely. She turned to Inamdi, tying a strip of shiny cloth around his wrist. This will anchor you to our world, so you do not get trapped there. Remember who you are. Her eyes softened, and for a moment she was just a mother looking at her son. Please come back, both of you. Ada swallowed the lump in her throat. She suddenly wanted to hug the queen, her hands, but she wasn't sure if it was allowed. Before she could decide, a tremor ran through the ground. The trees groaned. A distant roar shook the air. He is pushing again, one of the warrior spirits said, eyes flaring. There is no more time, the queen said. Go, follow the butterfly's trail back. The path will open. Remember, do not let fear lead you. And Ada, her golden eyes burned. Trust your heart, but question every shadow. Not everyone in your world will be what they seem. Oburo is not the only one who knows how to wear a mask. The warning settled deep in Ada's bones. A mask, not just the flying ones here. People also wore invisible masks. And someone near her, in her school, might be helping Oburo without anybody knowing. The idea made her skin crawl. She and Nnamdi stepped into the shimmer behind the two trees. The world spun again, rushing past in a blur of color and sound. There was a brief moment where Ada felt her two halves pull in different directions, the Ihuoma part and the hurt part. But when they snapped back together with a jolt, she stumbled forward and landed on familiar rough ground. The air was thicker, heavier. The sky was normal dark, with a few tired stars blinking. They were behind the hostel. The security lights still flickered. Generators still hummed, but something was wrong. The air felt colder. The trees behind the hostel looked darker than usual, their branches bending like they were listening. Nnamdi stood beside her, now dressed in simple black trousers and a plain t-shirt the queen had magicked on him before they left. It still looked like he carried another world on his skin, but he could pass for a normal boy, at least from far. So this is your world, he whispered. It smells noisy. Ada almost laughed, despite everything. Wait till you smell the hostel toilet, she said, but her chest tightened when she saw the back door. It was slightly open, creaking softly. She never left it like that. And something dark was seeping from the corners, like smoke that wasn't smoke. He's already touching this place, Namdi said, his voice low. They slipped inside. The corridor was dim. Most students were at night prep. A few girls whispered in their bunks. One girl scrolled her phone secretly under a wrapper, the light flashing on her face. Everything looked normal on the surface, but as Ada looked with the eyes Ihuoma had opened in her, she saw faint dark threads clinging to the walls, creeping along the ceiling like spider webs made of shadow. A whisper slid through the corridor like wind. Soon. We need to find where it is strongest, Inamdi murmured. Where his hand is entry. Ada nodded. She closed her eyes, touching the bracelet. Warmth spread up her arm, then into her chest. When she opened her eyes, she saw it, a thick line of darkness leading up the stairs towards the senior girl's floor. Her stomach dropped. "We have to go up," she said. They moved quickly but quietly. The stairs creaked under their feet. On the landing, Ada almost collided with someone. "Ha, see you!" Amaka's voice burst out, full of shock. "Ada, where you come run go since? People don almost announce your missing for assembly tomorrow. You—" She stopped, eyes narrowing as she saw Nnamdi behind her. Ada, she said slowly. "So this is why you vanished. You went to follow boy behind hostel. You are finished. If Mama Risi catch you, you are dead. Who is this fine boy self?" Her eyes sparkled with mischief. Under normal circumstances, Ada would have blushed and pushed her friend playfully. But there was no time. "Amaka, please," she said urgently. "This is not what you think. I will explain later. Just go back to prep and don't come upstairs." Amaka folded her arms. "Explain later, K. I am not your junior that you will just push aside. I am following you." "Ada," Nnamdi said softly. "Maybe she should stay. People will notice if she disappears again. And sometimes, three eyes see what two eyes miss." Amaka squinted at him. "Why is he talking like ancient king?" she asked under her breath. "Where did you pick him from? Nollywood set?" "Long story," Ada muttered. The darkness was pressing harder now, cold against her skin. She could feel it pulling her towards the corner room upstairs, one of the senior rooms. Her heart thudded. They climbed. At the door of the corner room, Ada felt the darkness thicken like a curtain. The door was closed, but faint light spilled from under it. Voices murmured inside. A harsh female voice, a softer one answering. Ada recognized the harsh one. It was the hostel matron, Mama Risi. "You are sure you poured it in their water tank?" Mama Risi was saying. "Yes, ma," a nervous girl's voice replied. "I did as you said." Ada's blood ran cold. "Water tank? What did they pour inside?" Inamdi's eyes met hers, sharp. He nodded. Gently, he touched the door with his palm. Light flickered from under his skin. Too faint for normal eyes, but enough to push back the darkness a little. They listened. "Good," Mama Risi said. "By tomorrow, the atmosphere in this hostel will be ripe. Fear will be everywhere. He will be pleased, and my own reward will be double." A low chuckle followed, but it wasn't normal laughter. It had an echo, like two voices mixing. Ada felt sick. Mama Risi was serving Oburo. That was why the darkness felt strongest here. But why? What kind of reward was she expecting? Money? Power? Safety? "You promised me my own position too," the girl said timidly. "When everything changes, you said I will no longer be ordinary student." "Keep quiet, fool," Mama Risi snapped. "Do you think he has time for your small dreams? If not for your weak mind that is easy to control, I would not even be using you. Finish the marking of those names and don't talk too much." Papers rustled. "Remember," Mama Risi said, voice dropping lower, "we're starting with SS2 girls. It likes fear that comes from almost grown hearts. They taste richer." Ada's knees almost gave way. They were targeting her set, her classmates, her roommates, maybe even her. She had heard enough. "We have to stop this now," she whispered. "If something is in the water, we cut it off," Inamdi said, eyes hard. "But first, we stop the source in this room." He raised his hand towards the door, but before he could move, Amaka did what Amaka always did. She acted before thinking. "So you are the problem, eh?" she shouted, kicking the door open. "No wonder bad things always smell around this hostel." The door flew inward with a bang. Mama Risi whirled around, eyes wide, and then immediately narrowed. She stood in the middle of the room, holding a strange black bowl that seemed to swallow light. Beside her, one of the senior girls, Ngozi, clutched a stack of papers, fear all over her face. The dark threads in the hair hung thickly around them. For 1 second, time froze. Four pairs of eyes met, the matrons, the seniors, Adas and Inandis. Then everything exploded. You, Mama Risi hissed, staring at Dada. I have felt your presence for days, light pretending to be small. I warned him you would be trouble. I knew I should have sent you home sick last term. Her voice was no longer just hers. It dragged like mental on stone, layered with something old and ugly. And you, she sneered, eyes sliding to Inamdi, a stray of Ihuoma, walking in this weak world like you own it. You are far from your mother's trees, boy. Darkness rose around her, licking her skin. Ngozi whimpered, pressing herself against the wall. I didn't know it was like this, she whispered. You said it was just protection. Will you shut up? Mama Risi snarled. She lifted the black bowl. The shadows in the room swirled, drawn towards it. Ada felt cold seep into her bones. Oburo was near, watching through the bowl, testing her. For a second, fear almost paralyzed her. Then she remembered Inamdi's words. You don't choose the war, you choose how you fight. She stepped forward. Mama Risi, she said, voice shaking but steady enough. This is not you. You used to tell us to pray before sleep. You used to give extra food to the sick girls. Why are you doing this? For the first time, something flickered in the matron's eyes. Pain, regret, then darkness swallowed it. Prayers didn't pay my husband's hospital bills, she spat. It didn't stop them from sacking me from my last job. It didn't stop men from looking down on me as if I am dust. But he saw me. He promised me power, respect, control. Her lips twisted. All I have to give him is fear from small, sweet hearts like yours. Fair exchange. Ada's stomach churned. So that was it. Heart and greed twisted together. He is lying to you, Ada said urgently. He will use you and throw you away. He doesn't know love. He knows only hunger. The darkness around Mama Risi shuddered. Oburo did not like that word. Love. Inamdi stepped beside Ada. His presence solid. You are not the first human he has fooled, he said. He always promises power. He always leaves ruin. Be quiet, Mama Risi screamed. The bowl in her hand glowed pitch black. A wave of shadow rushed at them like a storm. Inamdi grabbed Ada's hand. Now, he shouted. Ada clenched her bracelet. Light burst from it, meeting the darkness in the middle of the room. The collision shook the walls. Bulbs flickered wildly. Ngozi screamed and dropped to the floor, covering her head. The black bowl cracked. A row, not human, not animal, shook the air. In that moment, Ada saw him. Not fully, but enough. A pair of burning red eyes in the shattered reflection of the bowl. A shape like a man made of smoke and ash, with horns that were not horns but twisted shadows. His gaze landed on her, and the room went quiet inside her head. So, a voice whispered, not from the room, but inside her skull. The child of two worlds finally stands before me. Pain shot through her temples. She gasped. Inamdi squeezed her hand, but his voice sounded far away. Ada, stay with me. Images flashed in rapid succession. Her mother's face, younger, standing beside Queen Oriaku. Her father, kneeling at an old shrine, sweat pouring down his face. A small baby, her, glowing faintly, while darkness clawed at a barrier. Oburo's laughter slithered through it all. Do you think you can stop me, little spark? The voice hissed. Even your grandfather could only cage me, not kill me. You are a child playing with matches in a house already burning. Ada wanted to cover her ears, but the voice was inside. You talk too much, she managed through gritted teeth. For someone who is so powerful, you are still hiding in bowls like village witch. For a second, there was silence. Then a furious hiss. You will watch them fall, Oburu said softly. One by one. Your friends, your parents, your handsome little prince. And you will know it was because you refused to bow. The pressure in her head increased. Tears streamed from her eyes. Fight him, Nnamdi said, his voice firm but shaking. He cannot own what you do not give. Something inside Ada snapped. She was tired. Tired of secrets. Of being pushed by forces older than her. Of fear. A different kind of anger rose. Clean and bright. Get out of my head, she said, voice low but sharp. She pulled from the deepest part of herself, the place where Ihuoma and earth met. A golden light, different from the one in her bracelet, flared in her chest. It rushed up, pushing against the dark pressure in her mind. Oburo snarled. The bowl in Mama Risi's hand shattered completely. Black liquid splashed on the floor, sizzling. Mama Risi screamed, clutching her head as the dark threads around her whipped wildly. For a second, Ada thought it was over, but darkness doesn't give up easily. With a last violent push, Oburo threw his energy into the hostel itself. Lights burst, windows rattled, the floor shook. Distant shouts rose as girls screamed and ran from their rooms. The water tank above the hostel groaned. The pipes rumbled. The water, Nnamdi said sharply. He's trying to push his corruption through it. If they drink or even bathe with it, it will have small hold on many hearts. They couldn't let that happen. I will handle here, Nnamdi said. Stop the tank. You can't fight her alone. Ada protested. I am not alone, he said, eyes flashing. Your friend is here. That senior girl is here. And your people. He jerked his chin towards the corridor where footsteps and cries were growing louder. They need to see the truth. He was right. Ada turned and ran. Amaka followed without question now, fear and determination etched on her face. What is happening? She cried as they raced up towards the roof access. Who is that woman? Why is light coming out of your hand? Who is that boy? Is this rapture? Later, Ada gasped. Just trust me. They burst through the small door that led to the roof. The cold night hit them. The water tank loomed, large and black against the sky. Dark smoke leaked from its edges, snaking down the pipes. Ada could practically hear Oburo's hungry breathing. She clutched her bracelet. What are you going to do? Amaka asked, eyes wide. I don't know, Ada admitted, but I know what I can't do. Stand here and watch. She stepped forward, climbed onto the small ledge, and placed both hands on the tank. It vibrated under her palms, full of more than just water. Whispers clawed at her ears, offering power, knowledge, shortcuts. Just allow me in, they hissed. I can make you more than all of them. For one terrifying second, she imagined it, having enough power to shut down bullies with a word, to fix her parents' financial problems, to make teachers respect her, to protect everyone she loved, if she just bent a little. Ada, Amaka said softly, I don't know what is happening, but don't leave me here. Don't go somewhere I can't follow. The simple words cut through the whispers like a knife. Love, friendship, the things Oburo could never understand. Ada took a deep breath. I am not your tool, she said into the darkness. This is my hostel, my friends, my world. You can't have them. She pulled from Ihuoma light again, but this time something new flowed into it. Memories of real, simple things. Sharing snacks in class. Her father's off-key singing in the bathroom. Her mother's tired but loving scolding. Amaka's loud cries during scary movies. Nnamdi's eyes when he said he wished he had a normal life. The light that rose was not just golden. It carried hints of all those colors. Purple like Ihuoma's sky, dull yellow like oyster bulbs, brown like her mother's hands. It poured from her palms into the tank. For a moment, it was war. Dark liquid inside boiled. The tank shook violently. Cracks spread along its surface. Leave them, Ada shouted, voice raw. You want someone to fight? Fight me. There was a sudden deafening crack. The tank split. Water exploded everywhere, crashing down in a freezing wave that knocked Ada off the ledge. She would have fallen badly, maybe even off the roof, but Amaka was already moving. With a shocked yell, she grabbed Ada's arm, pulling her back. They both collapsed in a heap, drenched, gasping, laughing a little hysterically. The dark smoke vanished in the spray. For now, the hostel water was ruined, but free of Oburo's touch. Below, chaos reigned. Girls screamed about rain from nowhere, matrons shouting orders, teachers rushing in. Ada and Amaka scrambled down, soaked and shivering. When they reached the corridor, they found a scene they would never forget. Mama Risi was on her knees in the hallway, eyes wide, surrounded by girls and a few teachers. The broken black bowl lay in pieces beside her. Ngozi, the senior girl, was sobbing and confessing loudly. She told me it was only cleansing, she cried. She said we were securing the hostel. I didn't know. Keep quiet, Mama Risi shrieked. Dark smoke still clung to her, but weaker now, like a shadow afraid of light. You all think you are better than me. You don't know how this world is. You don't know what it is to be powerless. Power that destroys children is not power, a calm voice said. Everyone turned. Nnamdi stood at the end of the corridor, breathing hard, his clothes torn. There were burns on his arms, but his eyes were bright. Light flickered faintly around him, visible only to those who could see beyond normal sight. For a second, Ada feared that people would notice something strange, but in their panic, they saw him only as a new boy, maybe someone's relative, maybe a teacher's helper. An adult teacher demanded, Who are you? How did you get in here? He's with me, Ada said quickly, stepping beside him. Her body ached, but she stood straight. She turned to the crowd. She knew she couldn't tell them everything. They were not ready, but she could tell enough. Matron has been doing something bad, she said clearly. Using fear, using us, for something dark. She tried to poison our water with spiritual contamination. The Christian teacher's eyes widened. Blood of Jesus, she whispered. I knew something was wrong in this hostel. All these strange nightmares the girls have been having. We must call the principal, another teacher said, already pulling out his phone. Mama Risi laughed bitterly. You think you have won? She spat, pointing a shaking finger at Ada. He has seen you. He has tasted your light. He will not let you go. Her eyes rolled back. She convulsed, then slumped, unconscious. The dark smoke around her scattered into thin air, but Ada knew it wasn't truly gone. Oburo had simply changed tactics. The rest of the night was a blur. The principal arrived, angry and confused. Police were called. Mama Risi was taken away in an ambulance, still unconscious. Ngozi was dragged to the office for questioning. The water overflow was blamed on old tank plus spiritual attack, according to the girl's version of the news. Amid the chaos, Ada tried to stay near Nnamdi, but she realized something. No one else really saw him. They saw a boy, yes, but their minds slid away from him like he was a shadow. It was the queen's anchoring charm. He could move in their world without drawing too much attention, but not forever. As dawn broke, painting the sky pale pink, Ada and Nnamdi slipped outside, behind the hostel again. For the first time since they returned, it was quiet around them. We won this round, Amaka said, arms wrapped around herself. But what exactly did we fight? And who exactly are you people? Ada looked at her friend. She had always promised herself that she would not keep big secrets from Amaka. Now that she knew what secrets could cause, she couldn't repeat that mistake. My name is still Ada, she said softly, but I am not just from here. I am also from somewhere else. She looked at Nnamdi. He nodded, silently giving permission. So she told Amaka a version of the story. Not everything, not the full depth of Ihuoma, but enough. A hidden kingdom, a wicked spirit, a queen, a path behind the hostel, our own strange blood. Through it all, Amaka listened with her mouth open. When Ada finished, there was a long pause. Then Amaka said in a small voice, So, my best friend is Princess from Hidden Kingdom, and I have been dragging her gala without respect? Ada burst out laughing, the sound losing something in her chest. Nnamdi smiled. Amaka's eyes shone with tears. Should have told me, idiot, she said, punching Ada's shoulder lightly. Do you know how hard it was seeing you vanish that night? I thought you ran away, or died, or I don't even know. I'm sorry, Ada whispered. I was scared of everything. Next time, fear with me, Amaka said, pulling her into a rough hug. We will share the fear. Ada hugged her back, heart swelling. Love again. The one thing Oburo could never use. A breeze rustled the leaves. The two trees that framed the hidden path stood quiet and closed. For now, Nnamdi looked at them, then at Ada. His eyes held a sadness that made her throat light. I must go back, he said softly. The words hit her harder than she expected. Already? The longer I stay, the more he can sense me, he replied. And my people need me. My mother needs to know what happened, what we faced. Ada swallowed the lump in her throat. We still don't know who else is using in this world, she said. If he got to Mama Risi, he can get to others. He said I will watch people fall. You will not, Nnamdi said firmly, because you are not alone. You have your aunt in Ihuoma. You have me, and you have her. He nodded at Amaka. And maybe others who will show their real faces when the time comes. Happiness and fear twisted together inside her. Will I see you again? She asked, voice low. Her words are tied now more than ever, he said, and Oburo is not finished. That means neither are we. He stepped closer, so close she could see the tiny golden flecks in his dark eyes, the small scar on his chin even clearer. Adaeze, he said quietly, in another life, maybe I would just sit with you under a tree and talk nonsense. But in this life, every moment is war. So I will say this plainly. There is a place in my heart that already has your name. Her breath caught. Heat rushed to her face. Even if we are sort of family, she asked, half joking, half serious. A shadow of sadness crossed his face. Bloodlines are complicated between worlds, he said. Your mother is my mother's sister by spirit, not birth. Our connection is tangled, yes, maybe forbidden by some rules we don't fully know yet. But feelings do not always wait for rules. Tears stung her eyes. She wanted to say so many things, that her heart jumped when he smiled, that his courage made her braver, that thinking of him made her chest ache in a sweet way. But words felt too small, so she did something else. She reached up and touched his wrist, where the shining cloth still wrapped his skin. Come back alive, she said. That is an order from you half princess, half whatever I am. He laughed softly. Yes, my lady, he said, bowing his head slightly. Then, surprising even herself, Ada leaned forward and pressed a quick, trembling kiss to his cheek. It was soft, brief, and full of all the things she didn't know how to say. He froze, then smiled, a real wild smile that crinkled his eyes. Amaka made a small choking sound behind them. God, when? She muttered dramatically. Where will my own prince fall from? The hair shimmered between the trees. The path opened, light swirling gently. Time is moving differently there, Nnamdi said. I must go. He stepped into the light. For a moment, he looked back at her. Their eyes locked one last time, carrying 1,000 unsaid words. Then he was gone. The path closed, leaving only ordinary hair, ordinary trees, but nothing was ordinary anymore. Days turned into weeks. The school tried to move on. They told the students that Mama Risi had been mentally unstable and involved in dangerous spiritual practices. Some believed it, some did not. Gossip flew, but the real truth remained between Ada, Amaka, and the queen who visited Ada in dreams. The hostel's atmosphere grew lighter, fewer nightmares, less quarrels, but Ada could still feel faint tugs at the edge of her mind sometimes, like someone texting a locked door. Oburo was wounded, angry, planning. In class, Ada stared out of the window more. She began to draw again, filling her notebook margins with images of trees with faces, flying masks, a prince standing under a purple sky. She pretended it was just doodling, but each drawing was a small anchor to Ihuoma. At home, during midterm break, her parents acted strange. Her mother watched her too closely. Her father started to say something several times, then stopped. Finally, one evening when power was out and they were sitting around the lantern, her mother spoke. Ada, she said quietly, have you seen anything strange lately? Ada's heart lurched. She looked at them, really looked, with the new sight she had gained. Faint traces of Ihuoma's light clung to her mother's hands, as if she had once held magic and let it go. Shadows of old promises hovered around her father's shoulders. They were not just parents hiding secrets anymore. They were warriors who had once fought their own battles. Mommy, Ada said slowly. Auntie says hello. Her mother froze. The spoon in her hand dropped, clattering against the plate. Her father's head snapped up. What did you say? He whispered. Queen Oriaku, Ada continued, voice steady. She said to tell you, it is time to stop running. Tears filled her mother's eyes. She covered her mouth with her hand, shoulders shaking. Her father closed his eyes, pain and relief crossing his face. In that moment, they looked younger, like the people they had been before fear made them hide. We thought we could protect you by pretending, her father said hoarsely. We were wrong. We should have trusted you, her mother whispered. I'm so sorry, Adaeze. Anger she had carried melted a little. They had hurt her by hiding things. Yes, but they were also just humans. Afraid, trying and failing. The same as Mama Risi, but with different choices at the last step. We don't have time for plenty sorry, Hada said with a small smile. We have work. He is still coming. They looked at her, a mix of fear and pride in their eyes. That night, they began to talk, really talk. Her parents told her stories of the old days, of the shrine that once stood where her school now stands, of the night they brought her barely breathing body to Queen Oriaku, of the promise they made never to mention Ihuoma again. She told them about the flying mask, the talking trees, the training, the battle in the hostel. Nnamdi. They winced at some parts, laughed at others, and stayed quiet when she spoke of the prince. So, her father said slowly, trying to keep his voice light and failing. This boy, this prince, he is a good boy. He saved my life, Hada said simply. Her father sighed deeply. Ha, that is the problem. Your mother saved my life too, and see where we ended. Her mother hit his arm lightly. Will you keep quiet? Children are talking. They all laughed, the sound carrying pain and joy. It was messy, but it was real. For the first time, their family sat in the same story, not on different sides of secrets. Time moved. Life tried to be normal. Tests, chores, gossip, crushes. But under it all, a drumbeat of something bigger continued. One cloudy afternoon, back at school, Ada sat under the old mango tree. She was supposed to be reading biology, but her mind was far away, half in a purple sky. A shadow fell over her book. She looked up, heart leaping. For a second, she expected to see Nnamdi. Instead, Toby was standing there, the quiet SS3 boy she used to crush on before her life turned into an African fantasy film. He shifted nervously, scratching his neck. "Hi," he said. "Hi," she replied cautiously. "You have been different lately," he said. "Stronger, quieter too, but not sad quiet. Just deep." She raised an eyebrow. "Is that an insult or compliment?" He laughed. "Compliment. I just wanted to say thank you for that time you helped my younger brother outside the gate. He told me you stopped some boys from beating him. I didn't know it was you at first." Ada blinked. She had almost forgotten that small incident. Toby smiled shyly. "You are braver than most of the boys I know," he said, "including me." "I like that." Her old crush stirred a little, like a sleeping cat stretching. Toby was still fine, still kind. In another version of her life, she might have fallen for him fully. But now, her heart was too crowded with other things: kingdoms, wars, magic, a prince with golden flecks in his eyes. "Thank you," she said, "but I am not that brave. I am just tired of fear." He nodded slowly, as if he understood more than she expected. "Still," he said, "if you ever want someone to talk to about normal things like exams and how wicked Mr. Philip is, I am around." The offer was gentle, free of pressure. She smiled. "I might take that," she said. As he walked away, Amaka flopped down beside her. "So, we now have Earth Prince and Spirit Prince," she whispered dramatically. "I'm watching this film live." Ada rolled her eyes, but a smile tugged at her mouth. Life was messy. Hearts were messy. She was not about to pretend she had everything figured out. That night, the queen visited her in a dream again. Only this time, she was not alone. Nnamdi stood beside her, serious. "Oburo is changing his plans," Queen Oriaku said. "He cannot use the water in your hostel anymore, so he's going higher." "Higher how?" Ada asked. The queen's eyes darkened. "He is reaching for the people who speak to your whole nation," she said. "Media, music, power. He wants to pour his fear into places where millions will drink it." Nnamdi stepped forward. "We will need to move beyond your school," he said, "into your city, maybe beyond." "So this is just the beginning?" Ada said quietly. The queen nodded. "Battles are seasons," she said. "You have faced the first. More are coming." A chill ran through Ada, but so did a different feeling, a steady, growing flame. "Then we will be ready," she said. The queen smiled, proud and sad and fierce. "There is one more thing," she said softly. "We have been trying to track Oburo's strongest ally in your ward, the one who first opened the small crack he used to reach your hostel. We traced some of the energy." Ada's pulse quickened. "Who is it?" "Someone close," the queen said. "Close enough to walk past you many times. Close enough that you would never suspect." But before I could see the face, the vision caught. Ada's mind raced. Teachers, students, workers, even family. Anyone could be carrying a piece of darkness without knowing, or knowing too well. Be careful who you trust completely, Adaeze, the queen warned. Even those who love you can be holding secrets that are not theirs. She woke up with a pounding heart. The next morning, assembly was tense. The principal announced that the school would be hosting a big event soon. A visit from a famous politician and a popular musician who were coming to inspire the youth. The field buzzed with excitement. Hada's skin crawled. Big crowds, big emotions, a perfect place for fear or manipulation on a massive scale. She glanced at the staff line. Some teachers looked happy, some bored. One teacher, a quiet, always kind literature teacher, was watching the students with an expression she couldn't read. When their eyes met, a flash of something dark crossed his face. It vanished so quickly she could have imagined it. His smile returned, gentle as always. "We will talk about your essay later, Ada," he said after assembly, passing by her. His hand brushed her bracelet lightly. For a second, the beads burned against her skin. She sucked in a breath. "Are you okay?" Amaka asked, noticing her flinch. Ada stared at the teachers retreating back. Memories flew, the way he always seemed to appear when strange feelings passed through the class. The habit of asking deep questions that made girls confess their fears aloud. The night he volunteered to help the hostel girls pray during a week of many nightmares. Had he just been kind? Or was he studying them for someone else? Or was she now paranoid, seeing danger everywhere? The Queen's warning echoed. Not everyone who wears a gentle face carries gentle things. For the rest of the day, Ada's world felt tilted. Every familiar face looked strange. Every joke had a shadow. Every smile might be a mask. Yet, at the same time, she saw more clearly the quiet goodness too. A junior girl sharing biscuits with another, a cleaner humming worship song as she walked, the principal's real worry under his strict voice. Light and darkness mixed in everything. That night, she stood behind the hostel again, between the two trees. The path was closed, but she could feel a faint pulsing in the air, like a heartbeat on the other side. "I don't know who to trust fully," she whispered. "I don't know where he will strike next. I don't even know what will happen if we win or if we lose. But I know one thing. I am done being just ordinary." The wind rustled the leaves in answer, like applause. Somewhere in a kingdom behind her hostel, a prince looked up at the same invisible barrier, feeling the echo of her words. His own heart answering. And somewhere else, in a high office, on a big stage, behind a news camera, maybe even inside a gentle teacher's smile, Oburo's shadow curled, watching, waiting. The shocking part was not that the hidden kingdom was real, not that Ada was half princess, not even that her hostel matron had been serving a dark spirit for promised power. The shocking part, the one that would keep people talking when they finally learned it, was this. The day Ada finally faced Oburo in full, when all the marks fell, she would discover that the hand that opened the door for him into her school was a hand she had held with love more than once. And in that moment, she would have chosen between saving the world she loved or saving the person wearing that familiar skin. The war had only just begun, and the most dangerous enemy was not the monster in the dark forest, but the darkness hiding inside a heart she trusted. The end. One clear moral lesson from this story is hiding the truth to protect someone can actually put them in more danger. Real love includes courage, honesty, and facing hard things together. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share. Subscribe for more powerful African